So today I kind of wanted to talk as well about sort of other marginalized communities that are really struggling with racist attacks or just generally mental health challenges in the time of COVID. We've talked a lot about how COVID exacerbates inequities that are already present in society, particularly among Black and Brown folks who are getting COVID at a disproportional rate. But I also wanted to talk about the mental health piece in relation to LGBTQ Americans and specifically young people. So, obviously, with COVID, we're all isolated. We're not in our schools. A lot of us are not in our sports. We're missing that connection between each other in society. And this is particularly important with young people. They're still developing their sense of self, and they're trying to understand themselves outside of us, the parents, and understand who they're going to be when they're with their friends, who are they going to be in society. And that takes them needing to be at school, at their extracurriculars, around with their friends to really develop who they are as people. This is particularly important with LGBTQ kids and young adults. They're struggling even more so because they have a harder time finding people that they connect with and can understand what they're going through. And their community is really strong because they serve as a need and as a foundation to help them through those challenging questions. We have seen a rise in suicides during COVID, and it really, quite honestly, scares the life out of me because a lot of that can be traced to the sense of isolation that a lot of these young people are feeling. And it must be incredibly stressful as a parent to have a young teen or a young person in your life and constantly worrying about if they're okay and thinking that because they're in your house, you have your eyes on them and they must be okay. And that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And honestly, I'm not a mental health expert. I don't have the answers for that, but I just want parents to be hyper aware of that in their house and just reach out and get the resources that you need, especially if you have kids in some of these marginalized communities who you think might be struggling. I'll include and tag some of my friends who are mental health experts and do counseling with young people and see if they can provide some maybe tips that parents should either be looking for or should be concerned about, so that you can get the appropriate help that you may need to help with your children. But everybody hang in there. It's a really tough time for us, and we're adults. So imagine how hard it must be for children and young people who are still trying to identify their sense of self in this world and may need resources outside of you to help continue to push them forward and help them while we battle this pandemic.